$1,000 ain't gonna do nothing. People blow that in the weekend. $10,000 is nothing. 20, 30,000, generational change, $100,000 may not be enough. And then if you don't know anything, if you're not educated, you don't know anything about finances, $100,000 is gonna last you what? I don't know, 4 months? I've had a friend that had $2 million, I think she got $2 million from a settlement, blew it all, have nothing to show for it.
Damn.
That's not what just giving somebody money is not gonna help them at all. People get too caught up in the name, Blexit, right? I know that I know that the name it means a lot, obviously because the movement is named after, but the thing is freedom. When I see Blexit, I see freedom. When some people see Blexit, they say, oh, you hate the Democrat. It has really not much to do with the Democratic Party. It's more of being free. Having a free mind. There's something else out there. For the longest, we feel like it's only one thing now that we have that we can utilize or access. We just want people to know, let me show you the history of what we've been doing all this time and it's gotten us nowhere. Here is another perspective. Think about this for a minute. I believe most black people are conservative. Most black people are conservative, believe it or not. Even black criminals are conservative. All you gotta do is think about it for a few seconds. If you were to sell drug dealers, I have some of my family, cannot confirm or deny if they still doing it. But you have drug dealers selling weed. Name a drug dealer that want government intervention. Name a drug dealer that want to pay taxes on it.
Most drug dealers are libertarian.
Name a drug dealer that's like, hey man, you wasn't hustling all week and putting your life on the line. Maybe you were sick that day. Let me give all my drug money and split it with you because it's fair. It's never gonna happen. Name a drug dealer that don't have a gun, that don't want their right to bear arms, per se, to protect themselves. And I know it's a weird analogy, but I think that it resonates because in the community, those things are not just the criminal element of it, but the conservative ideas.
Right. So give me a wider example than just the black people as the criminal there. Let's widen that a little bit, right? Do you mean on social issues also?
Think about this. The most religious people, I think per capita, is black folks. We go to church every Sunday. We shout in charismatic churches. I mean, we'll throw a scripture at you in a minute. We are the most conservative culturally, in my opinion. At least growing up, we were that way. My dad didn't let you make excuses. What do you mean you want somebody to hand something to you? You better work for what you got. My dad started at 18 years old on the fire department. Now he's the chief. My dad didn't put up with that. It's unacceptable. You don't want to be a coward. You're a strong man. These are the things that grandfathers used to say too. And a lot of people in the black community still have remnants of that. Grandma is strong. Grandma used to say, it's either hell or jail if you want to act like that and sell drugs and be that way. Black people adhere to that idea. The structure of entrepreneurship, being an individual. Think about music. Think about culture. Black people dominate culture because we created a unique idea on our own in many ways. That is more of a conservative idea. We don't want to be followers. We don't want people telling us what to do. We've always pushed the envelope as a community. That's, to me, more of a conservative idea. Look at the entrepreneurs going from drug dealing to being billionaires, Jay-Z and all these other people who took advantage of saying you can turn your life around and you can be an entrepreneur, you can make it as high as you want to. Oprah Winfrey, you can keep naming them. I'll tell you one that people really don't talk about is Madam C.J. Walker, who's the first female millionaire out of any race in the early 1900s. Millionaire. They got pictures of her with white people driving her around in the early 1900s. So we have always understood the entrepreneurial spirit. And for some reason, we believe that the Democrats are that side instead of the Republicans, and we've been confused, in my opinion. So back to Blexit, if we only understood, I think we would change. We've seen people change.
Do you feel it breaking?
I do.
Because the other thing I said to you right before we started was the day that all the Democrats started talking about reparations, I called Candace and I said, "This is because of you."
Yeah.
She caused such a freaking split where it needed to happen that suddenly the Democrats were like, all right, guys, we're starting to lose you. How about some cash? Stay with us. Here's whole cold hard cash. And what's the number? I mean, that's the other thing. It's like there's never going to be a number that's enough, right?
Yeah, and it's because reparations in itself is the stupidest idea ever. Because how you gonna pay it? We pay taxes still. What, they gonna not let us pay taxes? I'm gonna pay for my own reparations if I were to get it. Think about this. How much money are they gonna give you?
Well, they'll tell you that they're going to take it from billionaires. I mean, that's
and give you how much though? $1,000 ain't gonna do nothing. People blow that in the weekend. $10,000 is nothing. 20, 30,000 generational change. $100,000 may not be enough. And then if you don't know anything, if you're not educated, you don't know anything about finances, $100,000 is gonna last you what? I don't know, 4 months. I've had a friend that had $2 million. I think she got $2 million from a settlement, blew it all, have nothing to show for it.
Damn.
That's not what just giving somebody money is not gonna help them at all. But that's
well,
that's
and also
story.
it never would be enough, not just the literal amount, but like, okay, so let's say you gave every black person $50,000. Just pick up a number. Well, now you're 2 generations past that, right? And if the left just keeps going off the deep end, their grandchildren are going to go, wait, you sold us out for 50 grand?
True.
That was nothing.
True.
You know, it's just, it's almost the reverse of the way human psychology actually works.
Right. And then, you know, everybody knows when you give a person something, you just hand somebody something, they don't appreciate it as much. What kind of growth potential? Give me a better education. I don't need reparations and money. Fix these doggone schools with the money we already giving you. I mean, it seems like common sense to me.
So do you think going 2020, and you're obviously a Trump guy, do you think there's going to be just a seriously massive shift in the black vote?
I think it's going to be a shift in the black vote. I'm not sure how much the turnout is going to be, if that makes sense. I think a lot of people are leaving the Democratic Party. I think that's the biggest threat to them, is that people may not be on Trump train yet, right? Trump is like on a SWAT team where you have the round. The first person banged through the doors, shards going everywhere, it's chaos, you throwing flashbangs in there, everything is confusing, and then the people that come in are smooth after him. Trump is causing a lot of the ruckus. I believe that you may see more of it after Trump. The residual effect of what he has done, you'll have more people actually going to vote, because it is still a scary moment for black folks to even say they support Trump. People like me, what are you gonna do to me? People, I work on Trump stuff all the time. What are they gonna do? They're not gonna fight me. That's not gonna work out well for them. So they don't say stuff to people like myself. But if you live in a family, whatever, it's very difficult. But what I will say is that when I first started doing things about the same time Candace did, me and her met when she was Red Pill Black. And, you know, it was like 90-10 maybe, black folks, a ratio on my page. And even probably less than that. Now it's like 60-40. There's so many black people in my inbox, just flooding my inbox, saying, dude, you woke me up, I can't say nothing, my mom and them will kill me. Last year at Young Black Leadership Summit, I had to call a kid's parent on the phone because she didn't want her son to go because it was a conservative thing. I said, ma'am, give a boy a chance, let him go. And she ended up letting him go to the event. But when he got home, they criticized him, his family wanted to do, his dad, I helped him get prepared to have a speech with his dad. His dad wanted to have a sit down with him. Like, you know, how to be a man. His dad wanted him to sit down and talk about Trump. It was just the weirdest thing ever, but I helped him prepare for it, but it's very difficult. But if you look at any of the polls, you know, like, I mean, I'm not a real poll guy because they had Hillary winning and I knew she was gonna lose and she lost. But you can have somewhat of an indication of what people are thinking. On the side of saying that about 20%, I don't know, Fox did one around 20%, the NAACP did one that people never talk about, around 20%, and I think Rasmussen around 30%.
What about that moment during the State of the Union when Trump talked about all-time low black unemployment and they showed the picture of the Congressional Black Caucus and nobody applauded?
It was, I don't know how other people felt, but to me, it really almost made tears come out of my eyes.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
It's like, why do we hate each other so much? I mean, why do they hate the progression of black people so much? You hate your own people so much, and that's how I see it.
Well, they wouldn't need a caucus much longer. You know, Chris Rock, cops need a certain amount of crime, which I know is probably a little touchy for you, but like every group needs a little something to stay in business. And they know that they're gonna go out of business if actually we stop worrying about what race people are.
NAACP, all these other organizations are gonna, they're not, you know, Al Sharpton, all of them are gonna be unemployed. They're gonna be probably eating out of trash can. You know, so, but they need to do these things, but it hurts people. It hurts them and it helps people that's on my side. Because all I can do is point to them and say, if anything, whether you disagree, like them or not, when you say that black people are having the expression of historic low unemployment, at least do this. At least be like,
can we get a snap, maybe something?
You sitting there on your hands? Listen, they are not a representation of our ancestors. Martin Luther King would be rolling in his grave so fast, he'd be catching on fire. He'd be rolling so hard. These people are evilness to our community.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.